Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is David Hanlon, aka the Laptop Legend, and on Friday I made over $7,000 day trading, and most of that is due to one stock. And this one you probably haven't heard of for a while because it's literally just been slowly dying for the last few months, but it is HMBL HUMBL, formerly TSNP. This was my favorite stock for a long time. It's died recently, but it finally had one catalyst that is bringing it back to life, and you do not want to miss this, guys, because I think this run could be very continued based on, how beaten down this stock is. So without further ado, let's dive into my laptop and talk about some of these setups that you guys do not want to miss. I also do have a decent amount of live trading footage because I know you guys have been enjoying that, so just so you guys can see how I do this. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So remember to like this video, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you on the other side. All right guys, so I'm here on my laptop, and this is the chart for HUMBL. Starting last November, 1 year ago, it started to run pretty hard. I guess a little over a year ago it started to run. And you can see, man, this had probably the most insane run that has ever been seen in the stock market. Over 1 million%, almost 2 million% in, 3 months, 3.5 months, 4 months. Crazy, man, absolutely crazy run, and I'm just glad that I was able to ride some of this wave and make some money off of it. But as you can see, post reverse split, this thing ran as high as $7.72. I think it was like $1.80 or something like that before the reverse split, which happened on this day. But you can see, this thing is literally, it's down. It was down like close to 95% from those highs in over the course of this year, which is pretty crazy, man. Pretty freaking crazy. And typically that's not a good thing. You got a lot of bag holders, etc., etc. But the good news is it is so beaten down that there's not really that much more room that this thing can fall. And I figured that was going to be the case. And when we had this news that George Sharp was coming back on their team, I knew this thing would run. I just knew it. I was about as positive as you can be that a stock is going to run. And the reason for that is, again, based on how beaten down it was, and the fact that George Sharp was responsible for the reverse merger that helped this run to happen. And because of that, there's a lot of people who are huge fans of him. And, he's got, like a party of people who worship him, basically, because he made a bunch of millionaires. I think some of them are bag holding now at this point. But, there were people who he got in, down here, and it ran all the way up here. And I think they took some profits. So, there were a lot of millionaires created on TSNP, now HMBL. And because of that, when he came back to HUMBL as the capital markets advisor, I was very confident that that thing was going to be running. I was very confident. And they actually, he left their team a while back, and because he wasn't, a huge fan of what the company was doing in certain regards, and now he's back. So that's a really good thing for HUMBL running, and even if it's just, going to create hype and FOMO, it is what it is, man. I think it can cause a big run. Now, the reason that he's probably coming back is because, his company, Forwardly, F-O-R-W, that's the ticker right there, they own 125 million warrants to purchase HUMBL at 20 cents a share. So if HUMBL, kept fading much farther, it got down to about 40 cents. So if it kept fading much farther, eventually those wouldn't really be worth anything. And with liquidity fading, like, he probably wouldn't even be able to sell those for a profit. But he comes back on the HUMBL team, he's able to get the stock, to run again, able to get people excited about it, maybe get it uplisted so there's more liquidity. He's putting himself in a good position to make a whole lot of money being able to buy 125 million shares at 20 cents a share. So that's kind of his motivation here. And, he had to put this in there. Forwardly will be unable to sell these, and the company has no intention of disposing any stock at depreciated values. You guys can decide what depreciated means. I guess this thing is pretty depreciated down here. So he's trying to say, this thing has a lot of room to run. So, you can buy right here even after a 50% green day. So I think that's kind of what the point of that is. But you can see, guys, this chart is absolutely primed. And it was a pretty nice buy. So I do want to talk about the intraday chart a little bit. Just so you guys can see. I bought it right out of the open. I got 40,000 shares from like a 40.2 average or something like that, maybe 40.3. Epic. You'll see in the recording, I was up pretty damn big, over $1,000 in the first couple minutes of the day. I rebought some on this dip. You know, it put me up nice, man. I think I made 2,500 bucks within like the first 10 or 15 minutes of the day. And you know, it had some highs, pullbacks, higher high, higher low, higher high, and you know, it kind of failed here, made a lower low under this one, and then consolidated, went sideways really nicely. Came up here, I was long a bunch right here, sold some into this pop, and I'm really upset at myself because I stopped watching it and I missed this breakout here, which was just absolutely epic. You can see the volume came in and this thing ran, you know, from 53 up to 59. I had like, again, I had like 40,000 shares somewhere in here. I did end up buying 50,000 for one of these breaks. I believe it might have been this one right here in my TD, and I made like, I think like 600 or 700 just on this one candle right there with 50,000 shares. So if I'd actually nailed this here, it would have been epic. You know, obviously this is the type of consolidation you want to see, man. It holds its gains really nicely, goes sideways for several hours, comes back, fails a little bit, but again, it still holds that 50 psychological mark. This is just a beautiful chart, guys. I should have been long and a lot more here, probably to overnight this, because this thing probably gaps up and it probably runs again on Monday. So I'm gonna be buying it again on Monday for sure at some point. And you know, if I had shares from here, it probably would have been better. So I have multiple brokerage accounts and I need to be better about, you know, scalping in one, but actually holding shares in another one. Like, also, I should have bought some in my TD and just held it the entire day. Like, it's pretty obvious, you know, based on this chart with that catalyst that this thing was gonna run decently hard. So, you know, if I buy at 40 and sell at 43, it's just kind of stupid. I mean, I guess for scalping, yeah, it's smart, but like I should have also held shares. So that's something I want to be better about moving forward. So Humble, absolute biggest watch. And again, I'm going to show you some live trading footage of that in just a second. But this one on Monday, you know, if it can keep getting volume, should be interesting, guys. I mean, if it gets back over $1, that would be amazing. I don't know if it can do that in one day, but you know, it's going to be nice. Also, George Sharp tweeted this, wait until next week. It was nothing. I don't know if he's talking about Humble. I don't know if he's talking about GVSI or some of his, you know, other custodianships, but I'm excited, man. I hope that he can resurrect the OTC market. I mean, look at this chart. This thing is holding its gains really nicely. It's on the expert market, bro. People can't even trade this thing, and it's still holding its gains. Like most people can't even buy this. They can only liquidate, and it's still holding its gains. Like, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. I just wish I'd taken this more seriously. I knew about it under a penny. And you know, I just didn't take it seriously as like a long-term hold. So I could have had a ton of shares from, I think even like half a penny, man. I definitely knew about it on this day because GVSI and GGII started running at like the same time. And I remember both of those were under a penny and I could have bought a ton of them. And I didn't. And now I regret it because I do think that this, especially if he can perk Humble back up, that this could be, you know, a great runner once it gets off the expert market. Who knows what George Sharp is going to merge in, but you know, he's got the reputation to get something good in there. And honestly, I hope that's what it is, man. I hope this can be the next TSNP, the next Humble, and you know, this thing runs over $1 once he gets a merger in there and it heats back up the entire OTC market. That would be an ideal world. So if that happens, you know, you might want to consider holding on to some shares long term and also day trading it. I mean, ideally that would be the thing to do because, you know, this thing is basing. People can't even buy it. OTC market's not even hot. So if it gets hot and then people can buy it again, it gets off the expert market, we get a nice merger in there. This thing really could go crazy, guys. And George Sharp has the, you know, the track record to prove that. He does also, I believe he still has GOFF and he still has SRNW. So those are the other two ones. But again, this chart just looks ugly because it's on the expert market and like there's just no one who can buy it. So once it gets off, guys, it should be more interesting. But I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with that. There were a few other stocks I traded. So ELEK, I just made some horrible mistakes. I traded really well the first few minutes. Or I guess the first probably like 2 hours of the day. And then after that, I traded really, really poorly. So here you can see, let me pull up the 5-day, 1-minute chart. So again, guys, this is the crazy, crazy runner I talked about. I made a video about it here on this day, you know, ended up dipping and running even higher. And then it failed, you know, died, tried to bounce, failed again, and failed again there. So on this day here, I started buying because it was, you know, it was going sideways, man. It was holding a nice base here around the $3 area after having dipped from, you know, $8. Now, in hindsight, if I go back just to 5-day real quick so you can see, in hindsight, you know, the better consolidation area was right around 2. And if you see here, you know, where this failed the first time, that's actually perfectly where it bounces on this side. So like you can see here, 230s, that's where it failed. So like resistance turns into support. So, you know, this was probably a better support area than just randomly buying here. But, you know, it had based. It held this for, you know, the end of the day here and then a lot of the day here. So I figured it was worth taking an attempt at it. Unfortunately, that messed up my later dip buy. So I got a bunch of shares in here around this area, like 292, I want to say. I picked up several thousand. It started breaking out of 3. I added some here. I didn't sell any here. I was up like, I think like 700 or 800 bucks up here. It was a little tough to sell, but I really did expect this to bounce higher, but it didn't. And unfortunately, you know, it ended up dumping. I added on this dump because I thought it could still come back, and then they just pulled the bids. Everyone panic sold, and you know, I ended up going from plus 800 to I think down like maybe like 1,000 at the bottom there. Luckily, I was able to average down some. They had like a big ask right here. I tried to buy 5,000 shares down here. Didn't get filled, most of it. I think I ended up filling like maybe 1,600 down here, like 240, 238, something like that. And I ended up selling most of it, like 255 when it bounced here. And then I watched it, you know, here. And I ended up buying some here on this, I think somewhere around here. I ended up buying somewhere around here, like 235 or something like that, because this looked like it was gonna hold. And then there was a big ask that came in. You can kind of tell here on this candle. It looked like it was gonna crack this low, and I didn't want to be selling into another panic like this one, because I kind of waited until the last minute. So I just sold, and the bid, it was reserve. It ate all of my shares. They took out half of the big ask. It was like a 7,000 ask. It got down to like 3,000. I'm like, oh no, that was the actual bottom. I tried to buy the 3,000 off the ask, and someone bought them before me. Ended up ripping up. I ended up chasing up here, just like 1,000 shares instead of 3,000 from down there. So I had a worse average with less shares. This thing ended up bouncing. I think I sold it all in the 260s, and then right after that, you know, ripped up above here. So if I had gotten those 3,000 shares from down here, man, I would have made, you know, $3 grand on it instead of losing. I was down 1,000 here. I think I ended up losing like 500 or 600 by getting out into the bounce, averaging down. But just a very frustrating play for me on that one. I guess I got in too early, maybe with too big size, or I should have been, you know, maybe cutting sooner when this thing failed here, I guess. I don't know. It was definitely a tough play. But, you know, these low volume plays, low liquidity, it's easy to get a lot of slippage. So that's just something you got to be careful of. But definitely a lot of potential. This thing, I guess, could bounce again, but that's already kind of a big bounce from like 230 up to 330. So, I mean, maybe tomorrow, not tomorrow, Monday. Oh, Monday is tomorrow, Jesus. Maybe, you know, test these $4 or $5, I don't know. But this one you got to be careful because the real good entry was down to 230s on this one. So that is that. Let's see what, I mean, there really weren't that many other OTCs I was trading. The one other stock I do want to mention is DGLY. And the reason for that is this stock, I think they make like police gear or something like that. Pretty much every time that there's a big court case where people are expecting there's going to be some civil unrest, this stock spikes up. It spiked up, you know, during BLM stuff. It spiked up during White House riot stuff. It spiked up now due to the Kyle Rittenhouse, I think that's his name. During that case, you know, right here, people were expecting certain outcomes, so the stock ended up spiking up. I'm really mad at myself for this one because I just butchered it. You know, I saw it literally right here, and I'm thinking, no, I saw it literally right here. It had gone sideways for a long time. I'm like, all right, if this thing breaks out, man, people are expecting something to happen out of this case. It could probably run. I'm gonna buy a few shares, and I didn't. Ended up running. I think I chased up here, got a little gain, ended up dumping, probably gave back all those gains. The real moment that I screwed it up was right here. You can see this low volume. I bought like 20,000 at like 139, something like that. I had like 26,000 shares from like just under 140. So I was really set up if this was gonna spike. If it dumped, you know, there's decent consolidation. So I thought I would be all right, you know, not lose too much. But again, 26,000 shares, every penny, that's 260 bucks. I screwed this up so bad, guys. This thing started spiking. I saw it spike up to like 145. I sell market, they wick it down. I sell it all at like 141 flat, literally. And then after that, they rip it up here. They rip it up to like 160. So like I mean, I don't even want to do the math on that, guys. It just causes me physical pain. That's 1,000. 148, that's 1,000. 152, that's 1,000. 156, that's 1,000. I mean, I could have made like probably like realistically like 3 or 4 grand on this play, and I ended up making like 250 bucks, or like maybe like 300, something like that. Just very, very frustrating. Like, you know, spikes you sell, and then it was just rough, man. It was just rough, and I figured it would kind of sell the news, but I wasn't confident enough to take a short in case it ripped over here. It did end up dumping down a lot. I thought it might break down more. Ended up grinding back, but you know, mainly, guys, the thing about this is like I was right. You got to be careful with those market sells on stocks like this, honestly, or at least sell in chunks. If I had sold in chunks, I wouldn't have gotten wrecked so bad. But DGLY tends to sell the news a little bit, you know, like if people are expecting a certain thing to happen. I think that happened with the White House maybe, where like people buy it up because they're like, oh, there's gonna be a ton of riots. And then when like the actual notice comes out, or like the actual, you know, the actual news comes out, it sells off because there's no one left to buy it after the news comes out. So that does happen sometimes. Be aware of that on this stock. So that is pretty much it in terms of stocks, guys. Seriously, like HUMBL is my biggest watch by far. But you know, obviously if GVSI becomes buyable, that thing is probably going to be an instant runner based on, you know, what's happened with HUMBL. Everyone's looking for a runner because OTC has just been so ugly, man. It's been so ugly. Swings are rough right now for sure. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Not HBL, HMBL. That's pretty much it. So I'm gonna go into the live trading footage now. All right, there we go. There we go. So I do have this on 2x speed. You can see there. So I'm just gonna play it. This is right at market open. Unfortunately, I put my level 2 over the positions tab, so you can't see the name of what I have, but you can see the value. Again, I get 40,000 shares. You can do the math. But the positions tab is actually a little delayed, so I believe I already have 40,000. I'm pretty sure. It just doesn't really show up. So again, this is what a very strong stock looks like. Again, it's like there you go. You can see 16,000 again. You know, 40,000 times 40 cents a share is about 60,000. So you can see already up 7 something on the day. Crazy. This thing's just ripping out of the open. Very, very strong. Very strong. This is what a super strong stock looks like right out of the open. So hopefully this level 2 is helpful. Again, you're welcome to come back and watch this if you want to see like what a super strong stock looks like right out of the open in like a slower market. You know, this is a really, really good example. I'm already at 1,500 bucks. We're like 2 minutes into the day. I do sell half there. Unfortunately, you can see it fills me 20,000 on the bid at 44 right before they put a bid at 45. So I cost myself 200 bucks plus with that. So that's kind of annoying. Yeah, I was trying to sell at 448. They sold me at 44 right before they put a bid at 45. So that's annoying. And I sell the rest there just to lock it in because it is a big spike out of the open. I'm expecting a little bit of a pullback. You can see that 88K on the ask. I'm also watching OSCI a little bit. I try to short it, but I'm actually unable to get filled there. Again, I like playing that, guys. I buy the spike, or I guess I buy the dip. I sell into the spike. I short the spike. I cover on the dip. I buy the dip. I love doing that, and you know, it just feels great. So I end up moving that level 2 over there, at least so it's out of the way, and you guys can see the positions tab. So you can see there, I gotta take a short in my scalper. I'm gonna buy some HUMBL on this dip because I'm expecting it to run farther. And again, I probably should have, you know, just bought some and just held it on this dip, risking that 40 area because it's very, very good risk reward, especially with how beaten down the stock was. See some yellow prints on the time and sales there. I'm getting ready at this point. You know, I'm trying to dip by this. I'm pretty confident it's going to break high day from here, so I'm just looking to get back into my position. Seeing if it's going to break 43. Trying to get filled on the bid there. I just filled 10,000 at 431. I'm seeing if I need a cut. I try to cut on the bid there. I cut like 2,500 shares. But then it bounces back. Bounces back over. And I'm like, all right. Got some bidders there. I'll probably just need to add. I'm still watching level 2. You know, I don't want to add it 435 if it's going to dip back under 43. But Then some bigger bidders come in, so I'm like, all right. Fakes me out again, goes back under for a second. I try to sell at 43, but soon enough, it becomes obvious it's gonna hold VWAP here. You know, there's this big seller, 87K. It's dropping 75K, 65K. People are buying it, and I'm like, all right, this thing's probably gonna bounce. And I think that seller ends up getting taken out. Bidders are stepping up here. Boom, someone took it out in one hit. I'm like, all right, I need to buy more. At least I should have been. I know I do eventually. Yeah, all right, so I did buy more. I did buy more there, yeah. So I got almost 20,000 shares here. You can see I probably should have added more, but I didn't, unfortunately. Again, so I got almost 20,000 shares here. Looking pretty good. Again, strength coming in on the bid. Not many sellers on the ask. Bids moving up. Ask getting taken out, mostly green prints. Going above 44. I should have added, honestly, I should have added. I just wasn't sure if it would fail, you know, at 45, given that there was some big sellers under 43, so I just wanted to make sure that I'm staying safe out here. But again, we're looking nice, man. Again, I'm already up, you know, 300 bucks on that ad. Up 2,000 bucks. We're not even 15 minutes into the day yet. There it goes more. It's gonna break those highs. Lots of bidders. I get a little sketched because they keep taking out 45 bidders. But I can see, you know, there's some buying. They're buying 50,000 over the ask. That's typically a good sign. So I actually do end up hanging on to most of it here. I figure it's gonna bounce back pretty quickly off of this wick. And by gosh, by golly, that is what it ends up doing. Again, you know, if it's a strong stock, guys, it's pretty easy to have a good feel for the level 2 and stuff like that, because ultimately you can have your bias in the correct direction. So I was very long biased on the stock just because of what the chart was and what it looked like. Again, this thing was beaten down from, you know, almost $8 to like 40 cents. So it's pretty much as low as it's gonna go with a catalyst like this. And with a catalyst like this, there's just a really good chance that this thing just keeps running and then it goes higher. So that's why I'm pretty long biased on this. So again, you can see it ends up ripping nicely there. I'm looking to see how high it's gonna go. Again, I zoom out a little bit, just you can see, I mean, it's beaten down even in the last few days, let alone over the last 9 months. So just pretty crazy, man. And yeah, so I start locking some in there on that 465 bid. Just because there's a big bid gap, 455. I end up selling the rest there just to make sure. It may go a little bit higher. I may chase. I may rebuy some because it shows strength again. But again, I'm already up, 2,500 bucks on the day, guys, in like 15 minutes, which is crazy. It's crazy, man. Like I literally used to work for 2 weeks to make, I don't even know, bro. Maybe like a couple hundred. I mean, it's just crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. So I did long 10,000 again there. You can see the level 2 is pretty strong. Made over 48. And I'm thinking, geez, this thing is ripping. There's also breaking news on BONZ. I think I buy a few there. But I'm also watching Humble. Ends up flipping. So I'm like, Forwardly's also running. I'm not sure if I want to buy that. Humble's starting to break down. I think I'm a little distracted with Forwardly. I probably should have sold my Humble a little sooner. Oh, I guess I'm out now. Maybe I did sell it. I'm looking to short here just to see if we can pull back under 47. Again, I try to short into the spikes, but I was just late on that one. I was late, and you can see the bid already fell off under 46. I do get some nice shorts later on in the day, but I missed the great entry on that one. Ends up going back over 48. Yeah, so I short 10,000 Humble there. And then this one, for whatever reason, it cut me off. It cut me off because one of my hotkeys, for whatever reason, on Camtasia, it ends the recording. So yeah, it ended it. But you can see here, I am short a little bit of HUMBL, up, you know, like 200 bucks on that. I'm short from 48.15, so I did get a nice short up there when it bounced back and then failed. And I think I look to start covering up in here. I'm not sure if it can make it all the way back down to VWAP at 45. I think it may go to like 45.5 or something like that. So I end up covering. I don't want to make this video too long because that was kind of the most important part. And I covered my HUMBL there. Does end up dumping a little bit more. SWRM had some breaking news. That was kind of nice. I bought a few of that and then sold them. Just wanted to get out of those. Just took them on the bid there. You can see I start going long HUMBL again. I only got 1,000 shares filled. Kind of tough to get shares late day as volume declines. I did end up getting 20,000 for the break of 50 here though. I figured it could break 50 and rip because again, you know, whole psychological number, pretty important there. Again, guys, you know, it's crazy. Like it's 10:06. You can see it's 10:06. We're 36 minutes into the day and I'm up 4,250 bucks. I mean, it's just crazy, man. Just crazy. I'm so blessed to be able to do this, man. There you go, print in yellow, really good sign. I know it's breaking 50 at this point. I try to add for the break of 50. You can see I'm placing some orders there. I can't fill any though. I can't fill any. Still only have 20,000. Like it was very obvious it was breaking 50. Again, you get those yellow prints. That's why I like the Schwab time and sales because it prints yellow when it's over the ask. So when that happens, it's almost a guarantee it's going to break out. Again, it's printing yellow. I'm very sure it's breaking 51 here. And there it goes. People are hopping over each other. Again, I'm up, you know, 575 bucks on these shares, bro. And I didn't even get an ad at 50. If I got an ad at 50, man, I'd be up another couple hundred. Just amazing, man. Just amazing. And I'm thinking, all right, I want to start locking some in here just in case it fails. Looking a little bit weak. Still some buying, but I'm worried I won't be able to get out. I don't want to sell into weakness. Does end up hitting 52 here. Up 4,600 bucks. Just insane. I'm trying to buy more. I think it's going over 52. I can back up to 20,000. But I'm not sure how far it goes here. So I end up taking some off. And again, you know, there's a lot to this footage, guys. I may actually just start uploading stuff with a private link for people in the Discord with no voiceover, just so you can watch the price action, just like these entire unedited videos. In case you ever want to go back and refer to this, I think that could be cool. If you made it this far, let me know. If you're in the Discord, let me know in the comments down below if you think that'd be a good idea. I think I may start doing that. Again, just crazy, man, crazy. You know, I'm up 350 bucks, 360 bucks on that position. Very strong. At this point, you know, there's a 100K bid. 100K bid. I don't know if you guys saw that. 524. Just crazy. Crazy, crazy. This thing's ripping over 53 now. Gotta start locking some in soon here. I'm trying not to sell too early if it keeps going. But I figure it can start dumping. I do sell 5,000 of those shares. I should start selling the rest here. Just trying to get out. You can see, trying to get out, trying to get out. Down to 9,000, 6,000. 4,600. Just trying to get out because I figure it's going to dump here down to 3,000. And I would have been short there, but I can't go short until I'm completely out of my position. I try to short there, but it gives me an error message on the other side of the screen. Kind of annoying. Can't sell the rest of the 1,500 shares, so I can't short it. Kind of annoying. I think eventually I do get some short here. Yeah, I got 15,000 short. You can see I make some shorting it. You know what? 200 something bucks shorting this thing. Got me over 5,000 on the day. Just amazing, man. You know, within the first hour of the day, already 5,500 on the day. Pretty freaking incredible. And you know, I just play this, man. I just play it, and that's pretty much it. It's about to cut me off for like 30 minutes, so that's pretty much it, guys. That's just kind of the footage I want to show you of HUMBL. That's how easy it is to make money when you have a nice OTC runner. And it wasn't even that strong. I didn't even take that big a size. But yeah, that's it, guys. Hopefully you found this helpful. If you made it to the end, I appreciate you. Again, let me know what you think about the unedited content for Discord members. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Until then, you know the drill. Let's grow better together.
Bebé, dime por qué te mientes. No puedes esconder todo lo que tú por mí sientes.